Good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope that everyone's doing well. So, I wanted to make a video about the consciousness, global consciousness and AI, because I really love the fact that leaders are going out there and waking people up. So, I want to emphasize what I mean by, projecting AI issues and what's coming from the future on to the public. Great topic. And I love that people are talking about AI and the consequences and this and that. It's just a question of how are you delivering the message, right? There's two ways of delivering a message, and it's all in the tone. This is why the tone is really important, because you can say something in two different tones and it can mean completely different things. So let's say I say, people, AI is coming, right? I'm just saying AI is coming, but hey, AI is coming. That's excitement. Then I have AI is coming. That's warning, right? I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying AI is coming. And then there's people. AI is coming, people. AI is coming. Right? So all three of them were saying AI is coming. So it's not the message, it's the tone, right? So everyone's doing a great job. I just see sometimes on certain posts where the leader is saying AI is coming, and I see the tone of the leader's voice, and the leader, he or she, is sort of freaked out. So you can be a leader and go out and warn people, but if you have a tone of yourself, you're freaking out, that's not good. That's not good. Because leaders are there to calm people down, not freak them out, not scare them, right? So even if you're trying to do your best and you have the right intention, because I see they all have the right intention. Everyone that's going out and screaming AI is coming, they all have the right intention. So I admire that. It takes a lot of boldness, I admire it. But you have just to be careful with the tone, because if you're freaked out, I swear it's going to show. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Even if everything you're saying is legit, the tone that's freaked out or is a little nervous or a little scared is going to perpetuate all over the internet. And some people, because your message can be very clear, some people, it's all a perspective, right? It's how they take it. So they can be in a very low vibration, and all they're picking up is your vibration of freaking out. They're not even listening to the message, right? So I wanted to start with that. I'm not trying to correct anybody. I just want to, tweak and improve. So in my opinion, the best way to go out and give information is simply by giving information out. So I adore David Icke. David Icke went in the middle of the C word, the P word. It all sounds bad. The C word for COVID and the P word for the pandemic, but I'm sure that's not where your mind went. But anyways, so he went in the middle of this lockout. Everyone's locked in, everyone's freaking out, people are dying, right? And he goes on London Real and he's like, COVID doesn't exist. That's all he said, very calmly. And he's like, COVID doesn't exist. And like, I remember when I heard that, I was shocked. I was like, hold on, people are dying. Everyone's wearing a mask. My family's freaking out. Like, everyone's freaking out. We're locked in. We don't know what's happening. And this guy goes on national TV and he's like, it doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Brilliant. Brilliant. Because even I was confused, right? But why did he do that? Well, he just said something very simple in a very calm manner. But why? Because people started questioning. Now, hold on. What do you mean it doesn't exist? TV says it does. Hospitals and doctors say it does. This and that, right? So all he did is he made people question themselves. He literally made people question. He didn't say you're wrong, he's right, she's wrong. No, he didn't even go into the details. He just went super high level and he's like, they all made this thing up. Again, brilliant, right? That's a great leader. Now, I'm not saying he's working for if he's a reptilian, he's not. He might have been a reptilian turned good. I don't know. I'm not even getting into that. All I know is I follow him. I follow him because the information he says is extremely, extremely important, no matter who sent him. It doesn't matter. What he's doing is incredible for me and for other leaders. So we know what's coming. We can determine through the help of other leaders, and then we take care of our own circle, our own area. So the same thing, I'm not saying just put, a very vague something about AI and make people question. No, but this is what we want to do. We want people to feel comfortable because we're around, right? So don't worry, leaders are here. And we're here to give you information, and you know where to go if you want more information. Don't worry, everything's under control. This is the best feeling to give. Why? Because in the 20 years of experience that I've worked for a lot of different presidents, different nationality, different backgrounds, different industries, one president stayed with me and has always stayed with me. And this one president had so much experience, incredible. He was just hired because of his experience, right? When this president would come into the office, I promise you, I'm not even joking. All the assistants, all the people, all the managers, everybody was like, all right, this person came in today. It's going to be a wonderful day. It's ridiculous to think like that, but I swear to God, that was literally the vibe of the company. Every time he was in, everyone felt, okay, it's going to be a great day. There's nothing we can't handle today, because this person was so good at putting down fires. He was so, like, every disaster, he knew exactly what to do right off the bat. He didn't even have to go, group his people and have a meeting. No. Right off the bat, he knew what to do all the time. All the time. He was the closest father figure I ever saw in a man. So again, that's the feeling you want to bring. Oh, this person's on. Okay, it's going to be a great day. Oh, that president came in today. It's going to be a fantastic day. Every time he didn't come in, we're like, it's a boring day. If disasters happen, we have to wait till tomorrow to handle them because he's not here. If there's anything important, we have to wait till tomorrow because he's not here. Nothing could really happen, but just based out of confidence. Like, nobody had confidence. You're like, oh, he's not here. We're just going to wait for him. So that's what you want. You won't be like, I feel better knowing that David Icke exists in this world. It makes me feel better to know that there's people like that, and we're good because there's people like that. We can always run to and be like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do, sir? So this is the feeling you want to give to people. So you understand, going and be like, oh my God, AI is coming. That's not the feeling you're getting. You're repelling people. And if you repel people, then they won't listen to you anymore, So again, I love the intention. The intention's right, but this is the feeling we want to give. We want to give the feeling of security, and nothing can go wrong. That's the feeling. And if you always think like that as a leader, I promise you that's what you're always going to manifest. Oh, don't worry, there's a fire. Don't worry about it. We got it. Oh, there's an earthquake. Don't worry, we got it. Oh, we're going bankrupt. Don't worry, I'll save it. Right? Wow. Like I said, 20 years in my entire life experience, I met one guy like that. He was so confident in himself. He didn't care. Nothing could blow this guy away. Nothing. Super. I've never seen a confidence of that level. But he knew, because he had so many companies, he knew there's nothing that he's going to face that he can't handle. He can handle anything that he was able to face. And that in itself, again, like I said, every time he'd come in, everyone in the company would be like, it's going to be a chill day. It's going to be a good day. And every time he was out on a trip, like, everyone was just waiting for him to come back. It's just weird. It's weird. I never felt like that towards a man, towards a person. But to me, that's what a leader is. His presence is all you need. You don't even need him to talk. He's there. He's watching. We're good. So anyways, yes, this is a real problem, and we must take it seriously. I'm joking like this, but AI is a real upcoming problem, and we have to take this seriously. I agree. And I want everyone to go out and push this information out. No problem. Whoever's creating their own content, create your own content. And whoever's, telling the truth, go and tell the truth. This is what light workers, chosen ones are. So, how do you handle a problem? The way you handle a problem is by zooming into it. You zoom into it, and then you discover the problem, because you can't look at a problem from a high level. You have to zoom 100% into the problem, break it down in sections, understand it, and then you can forecast what's coming. And never forget, there's a timeline, right? You can only pinpoint the problem on the timeline that currently exists. We cannot pinpoint the problem that's going to happen in 5 to 10 years now. We can forecast, but I can't start, finding solutions right now of the 2030 agenda that everyone knows what's going to happen. Like, I can't. because it hasn't happened yet. So we don't know how it's going to unfold, right? So we can't find solutions now for something that's going to happen in 2030. We can only find solutions for what's happening in the immediate timeline, immediate future, immediate past, immediate like present moment. So that's what we're going to do. Because when you forecast too far, and this is why companies don't forecast like, 2 years and 3 years of sales and how we're going to, they have a ball number, but not how we're going to specifically attain it. That year, when it comes, then we go into the strategy. But, it's a waste of time to think, how are we going to fight the system in 10 years? Because the system can be completely different in 10 years, so it's a waste of time. So again, we zoom into the problem at hand right now. So we break it down into 3 sections, and this is for everything. You're going to notice I keep doing this, and you're going to get the ball going, after I show you how we do these things. So past, present, future. Any problem came from a past, it's happening in our current present, and it's going to continue in our immediate future. So as long as we zoom into this 3 parts, we can break it down, understand it, and move forward. Okay. So the past of AI. What do we have from the past of AI? We have the closest thing is Alexa from Amazon. I think it's Amazon, that little thing that talks to you. We have the iRobots, the vacuums that go around cleaning stuff. And we have the smart homes with, the computers and the phones and stuff, okay? So this is AI right now, what we currently have in our homes. So the vacuum doesn't communicate with Alexa. Alexa doesn't communicate with my laptop. So we have these individual equipment that don't communicate with each other. And to be fair, these are like, version 1.0, 2.0. So like I said, the vacuum sucks. Alexa records people by accident. It's not functioning the way it's supposed to. Now, if it was supposed to record you, then that's another story. I don't have Alexa in my house because I know that's what it's made for. It's made to be in everyone's home and recording what's happening, but I can't prove that. So all I can do is not buy an Alexa and not put it in my house. My brother has one. I don't have one, So it's up to you to see what you want in your house. Me, it was more important to have the vacuum iRobot, which, I see it's not even worth investing. So anyways, that's the past, right? So we're still in a place where we're fine. We're fine. Like the equipment we have, they're not going to take over. Alexa's not going to take over my job. The vacuum's not going to kick me out of my house. We're good. We're good, right? So let's all agree that there's no reason to panic right now. Also, from the past, I love what Greg Braden does. Also, he's someone incredible as well. He goes around in a very calm manner, very sophisticated manner. He looks like a teacher, and he's like, be careful, AI is coming. We have to remain pure as humans because they want our consciousness. And he's 100% right. He's not scaring people. Like I drove all the way to Albuquerque to see the Tesla Inc. convention, and I had a great time. And I saw he's a professor. He's a wonderful diplomat. So again, you just go and you give information, and giving out information is what's going to make people change their minds. You're simply giving out information. So here's the thing, just an example. When I used to volunteer for Mercy for Animals, I used to be a huge advocate, So we would go in front of these like Korean barbecue restaurants or these like barbecue buffets, and it's such a waste. These people go with their plates, they put 5 steaks, they take 3 bites, and then they throw away the 5 steaks on their plate. And you're not allowed to take it home because it's a buffet. Anyways, it's disgusting. Believe it or not, I was once in a business meeting. I was at Fogo de Chao in Beverly Hills. It's a Brazilian barbecue buffet. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. We were 20 executives in there having dinner. At the end of the dinner, when everyone's plates were leaving, I had to go and cry outside. I'm not even joking. So, I hate what we're doing to the animals, But anyways, so I was like, you know what? Screw these people. So I went and I made these pamphlets. I made these pamphlets and I went in front of these Korean restaurants, Brazilian restaurants, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you just came out with your belly full? This is what you just caused. And I would show it in these disgusting visuals, I would show it. They would come out of these restaurants like, that was the best $200 I ever spent, And then I was like, in your face, this is what you just caused. But I remember people hated me. They're like, oh my God, she ruined my dinner. And I would ruin it for people. And I remember I would ruin it for people. I know, because that was my purpose. I had a mission to go ruin it for these people. But I understand you can't. You can't change people like that. Because they want to eat meat. They don't care. Some people, they don't care. And some people, they love it. They're like, I'm superior. That's why I'm eating you. I swear they have that mentality as they're eating it. I see it in their face. I'm superior. So if eating a steak makes you feel superior, then go eat a steak, whatever, Whatever you got to do to feel superior. But anyways, to me, it's horrible. It's horrible. So, I took it upon myself to take the volunteer into a next level. But, I noticed nobody liked me. I wasn't penetrating anyone's brain. I wasn't getting my message across. I was just pissing people off. And they hated the Mercy for Animals people even more. So I understood you can't do that, but it's not really gonna work. So the best is to be very loving, to be like pure humans are miracles. Like, why would we want to put chips in our brains and have, we got to kind of wake people up. And why do we go towards these things? And this is really important because we have to find out the issue, right? The problem of the issue. So at 40, almost 44, so at the age of 42, I discovered a book called The Gene Key. So I'm grateful for Richard Rudd and I'm grateful for Blue for mentioning these things because I didn't know. So till the age of 43, I thought I was defective. I thought I was an accident and I was a mistake and whatever, So if you think like that, you can't build anything in your life. If you're like, oh, I'm a mistake, I'm just gonna wait till I die and then I can leave. It's because subconsciously that's what you're thinking, So thank you for that life coach. He was like, people are not mistakes. And when he said that, I felt the vibration, the wow, I got more juice into my body now. I felt it. And that's what it was. I thought it was an accident, I'm like, whatever. Because I was an accident. My mom didn't plan me and it's fine. And my brothers kept on reminding me, you're adopted, you're an accident, which is fine, because it toughened me up. But bottom line, it's you don't know, nobody knows why we're here. Nobody knows. And this is why I took it upon myself to find out, because what's the point, man? Like, I like to play Nintendo, but what's the point of playing Nintendo all day and making your life pass by, So what's the point of all of this? And I made it a life mission to find out. So again, nobody knows why we're here. Nobody knows why we're here. Nobody knows our purpose as a human species, other than evolution and technology. Nobody really knows anything, really. Our history's been erased and our future is being controlled. So this is a big problem. So what do? Thank you, Richard Rudd. Thank you, Greg Braden. Thank you to these people that are going out spreading the message saying there's nothing wrong with us. That's the first problem. If we don't think there's anything wrong with us, we're not going to go into equipment to fix our lives, right? Because there's nothing wrong with us. When the youth of today think that everything's wrong with them because now competition is even worse. Hey, listen, when I grew up, we had competition, but not like this. Like this is like by 18, you need to have an incredible job, an incredible resume, and an incredible diploma. Come on. Kids can't keep up with that. Children can't keep up with that. That's a horrible pressure. And on top of that, when you're going to be my age, you'll never be able to afford a house because by then it's going to be like 5 million for a shit shack, shack shit or whatever you call it. Trust me, some houses here they're not even livable. I've seen them. They're full of termites or they're not even livable. They have wood on the window, and these things go for like $500,000. They're not even livable. So you're paying $500,000 American dollars for a house, 500,000. The thing's not livable. You can't even live in it. You would have to dish out another 100 grand to fix it. It makes no sense. So so you live in a shack for $600,000. It makes the children have no choice. They have no hope, no choice, no future. This is ridiculous. This is why we're going towards the one world thingy. I don't want to say the word, but one world everything, because people can't buy houses one day. People are not going to be able to afford anything, and that then they're going to take over. They're going to be like, you want universal income? And they're going to be like, yes. I'm tired of these food stamps and I want universal income. they're all gonna be begging for it. And you can't blame them. Hey, listen, man. I see people on coupons here. I don't blame them. If someone comes and says, you know what, I'm gonna give you $3,000 a month for free, they're not stupid. They're not gonna be like, no, I'm good with my food coupons here. Come on, you know. So it's going towards that. There's no stopping it. And not only that, they're pumping, non-player characters. Every player is important, okay? So I don't want non-player characters looking at my video and be like, I don't count. No, you count. You definitely count. All the non-player characters count. But they're pumping even more non-player characters. So once they do change the system, well, everyone's gonna run into it. Of course. Right? So here's the thing. We can't stop that. There's no stop. So we tell people there's nothing wrong. We built them from ground up. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't go to external things for satisfaction. Look into the gene keys, look into yourself. So you help people on a psychological level. Growing up with three older brothers, I saw they were always playing Nintendo games. The Nintendo would come out, they would go and buy it. PlayStation would come out, they would go buy it. PlayStation 2, 3, my brothers kept on going and buying it. And I saw they were just always playing their games. And I wasn't really into it. Like, I was more into Mario Brothers and Zelda and Tetris. I never got into the games. My brothers did, big time. And I saw it's because it played with their imagination. Their life in the game was way more fun than their real life. And I saw why they were hooked. Like, sometimes they would play 16 hours straight. Like, it was ridiculous. My mom would have to come bring food, be like, hey, put your game on pause and eat a little something. So why were they fanatics like that? Because it was better than the real world. It was intriguing with their imagination. The people that grew up without internet are the ones that are responsible to teach others that are just game what life is about, because the youth that's growing up with the internet has no idea what a life without electronic is. So again, it's up to us to teach them and be like, it's the middle point of everything. I'm not saying get rid of technology entirely and go back to the little house on the prairie moments. However, middle point of everything. Also, don't go too extreme where you're half cyborg. So, middle point of everything. We stay humans, pure humans. And everything, we just use it as a tool. This is the best of the best. So, past. We fix our psychology. We're not mistakes. We're not here by accident. We all have a purpose, right? We pump that information to people. We're wonderful the way we are. Our unique gifts is what sets us apart, is what helps us contribute to the world. Keep pumping that because it's needed. Trust me. In the mainstream world, everyone thinks they all suck. Even people at SpaceX. Sometimes they wouldn't get a project done and they would be so hard on themselves, and these are brilliant. Trust me, SpaceX handpicked from all over the world. Handpicked. They go and they find the most brilliant people. And even the brilliant people are like, I suck because I couldn't get this deadline. Trust me, the deadlines at SpaceX are not realistic. And it's normal. He does it on purpose. He doesn't want to give everybody a month. No, you have 2 days, and then if you need more days, then we'll talk about it. You got to justify yourself. So I get it, but then people are hard on themselves. So if you have the best engineers in the world hard on themselves, then come on, the secretary, the janitor, imagine how they feel. So, huge problem that we have to fix. Humanity. Humanity is incredible. Like, I understand people are like, oh, I'm an alien. I see it, but for some reason, I don't know. Like, I see the Lyrian cat aliens, and I understand I'm hairy like a cat, but I don't know. Am I really a cat? Like, I don't know. It doesn't resonate. So the more we talk about it, the more it's gonna resonate. The less it's gonna look like Star Trek and Captain Luke Picard. Like if you keep talking about it, it's gonna be more realistic. So if we're aliens, please talk about it. I don't relate with the cat aliens, but if I am Illyrian, then great. Maybe it'll explain all the hair on my head. But I thought it's because I come from monkeys. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going off topic here. So again, okay. So we're good. the past, why people go into the games, and again, don't forget, we have equipment. The Oculus came out in 2016. Like that 3D thing came out in 2016. I had a friend downtown LA that had it in their company. There's a rooftop and there's an area, their living room, where the students can, I mean, not students, the employees can go and play games. And there was an Oculus. I remember I tried it 10 years ago. The Oculus came out. So, now people are freaking out at AI. No, the thing was out 10 years ago. And I remember we tried it on. It was cool. You can go to space, then you can go hiking, then you can go travel. It was very interesting. I remember it made me dizzy after an hour, but I remember I was like, okay, this is cool. But it didn't catch on. Like, none of my friends bought it. None of, the companies I worked for got it. Like, nobody ever cared about the Oculus. And still today, how many people do you know has the Oculus? Nobody. Nobody has it because it didn't catch on. We did, oh, well, it's better to go hiking. Come on, you live in California. You're really going to put an Oculus and go hiking in there? Makes no sense. So people were like, no, we're going to go hiking. Well, okay, we're going to go to space. All right, well, going to space once, it's, how many times you're going to go to space? It's so abstract, in the game. And then, okay, well, I'm not really going to go shopping in here. There's real life shopping. So, I saw it didn't catch on. Nobody cared about the Oculus. So, it can be like this. AI comes and nobody cares. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but there's going to be many versions. The first robot that's going to come, it's going to be version 1.0. It's going to be like, all right, well, it can vacuum, but it can't do this. It can do that, but it can't do this. That's how it's going to start. It's not going to be like the first robots that's in everyone's house is going to take over. It's going to be slowly. So version 1.0, version 2.0, just like the iPhone. We're going to have multiple versions. So there's a lot of time to fix this. It's not like suddenly it's going to come and it's going to be the end of the world. No, it's slowly going to come. So what do? The past. We understand the past. It's not a threat, right? Okay, another problem from our past. Growing up without a father, I can tell you for a fact, and someone that always watched television, I can tell you for a fact there's no role models out there. There's none. There's a few, like I said, Tony Robbins, a few people, but role models, unfortunately, we have none. And this is a big problem. This is another reason why people are going into games, because their life, isn't as best as it should be. So, role models, right? It's super sad. Let me tell you what I grew up with, and this for sure has affected my life. I can guarantee you. It has affected my life, it has affected my brother's life. So, anyways, what did we grow up on? What was our role models, right? Like Little House on the Prairie was wonderful. The dad in there, I forgot his name, but anyways, incredible person. He died at a young age. But the Little House on the Prairie was an incredible. It was showing you the morals and how you should treat your people and your neighbors and this and that. I think Little House on the Prairie was an incredible, incredible, great show for people. But that unfortunately got, the evolution came and wiped that show out. So what do we get instead? Married with Children. Al Bundy. And I'm not making fun of jobs, it's not the job. Did you see the way the guy acted? Al Bundy was a irresponsible father and a irresponsible husband. And he always had that dumb look on his face, like, And hey, I love that show. I used to watch that show all the time. All of the time. I found the wife very funny, But come on, that can't be a role model. Of course we laughed. We laughed our entire childhood. But what are we laughing at? At the expense of the father. Think about it, right? My friends had fathers. Nobody was like that. Like, come on. That was on TV. But anyways, right? Then you had Three's Company. I used to love Three's Company too. So what's Three's Company? Jack is moving in with two girls, right? So it's a man living with two girls. And that time, that was not accepted among society, So what does he do? He pretends he's gay. So the whole show, he pretends he's gay so he can live with these two girls. And of course, he's always like trying to touch them. And, like, again, not the best example. Again, I love Jack Tripper. I love him. I think he's the cutest thing on this planet. He also died early, but whatever. I'm telling you, the good ones leave early. But anyways, so horrible example. Or did you see The Landlord? Oh my God. I forgot the landlord's name, but The landlord, the original, not the one that came after, but the original, he had his wife, you know? He was the landlord of Jack Tripper and the two girls. And he was the cheapest guy. He never wanted to spend anything on the apartments or on his wife. He was constantly insulting his wife. You know, his wife was always begging him to sleep with her. She wanted affection, just like, you never give me affection. And he's like, you know, insulting her back, you know, whatever. Another horrible, horrible role model. The cheapest, selfish, most unloving person on the planet. He was funny. He was funny. I laughed a lot. But again, these cannot be our role models. Come on. I can't believe it, right? I'm not even done. Then we have The Simpsons. Homer. Oh, come on. You have to admit, Homer. What is that? What is that? He's supposed to be like a chemical engineer. Trust me, having a diploma of that level, you have to have a lot of brains. Engineering is even harder than computer science, in my opinion. You know. So Homer Simpson did a diploma that's even more difficult than mine. You sure about that? So, you know, it makes no sense. Even if he's qualified, the guy plays a Dumbo. 100% Dumbo, you know? So these are our role models. So, of course, grew up with these role models. Like, my brothers had the Terminator in their bedrooms. Why? Because who else are we're not gonna put Van Damme. No offense, Van Damme, you know? We're not gonna put Steven Seagal. No offense, Steven Seagal, you know? So what are we gonna put, right? So my brothers put Terminator. So I grew up with Terminator. I thought a father would be like Terminator. So again, you know, nobody has role models. This is what we look up to. Come on. You know, Al Bundy, Homer Simpson. I love these cartoons. I love them. I grew up on them. I watch them all the time. But this cannot be a role model. You know, no wonder I was picking, 10 years ago, guys that didn't even deserve my time, because I was going after Homer Simpson and Al Bundy because they would make me laugh. I was like, a guy that can make me laugh is all I want that time, you know? But anyways, so another problem. Look at these crappy role models, and you go into Instagram and there's even more crappy role models in there, right? So please, 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 the men of today's world, we need great role models. That's gonna help. Because when they look at great role models, they're not gonna want to go to AI. They're not gonna want to go to external things because they're gonna be like, I want to be like that pure human. I want to be like that pure human, right? So that's gonna take the focus from something's wrong with me. I have no role models. I go into the internet, everyone's crappy, right? Into, wow, no, these 5 people that stand out, these 15 people that stand out, eventually it's going to be these 144,000 people that stand out. That's what I want to be like. And that's how we're going to shift it, right? So we need to be good role models, both girls and guys, but especially guys and girls. But I don't know. For me, it's always guys, because I always looked for role models and it was always hard for me to find them. So they have a picture of what it looks like to be a pure human being that wants the best for everybody. It's hard to kind of see what that looks like in today's age, you know? But okay, we can change that. So now the current present moment. The present moment, we have ChatGPT, right? And people are using it and it's fine. That's the present moment. So again, it's not too far, we're not too back, like we're good, right? We're teaching it what we want to teach it. So now we control the present moment because all we have is the present moment. So AI can never replace creativity. It can't. So what do? We don't use AI for creativity, right? We only use AI for mundane things. You know, like I get these commercials. Oh, open these Instagram accounts and pump them with AI videos and make instant money. Yeah, you can. And I thought about it. And I'm at a place in my life where I don't want to make things for the sake of money anymore. You know, like I don't want to invest in stocks that I don't care about anymore. You know, just because they're, good stocks and giving you a lot of money. You know, we got to see what these companies are doing behind the doors, you know? So for me now, everything needs to have a purpose and value, right? So I understand if I go onto Instagram and open a faceless page and I pump and I make a lot of money, but I pump a lot of AI out, I'm helping AI. Although I'm making money, I'm helping AI, right? So we got to stop doing that. We got to stop going after the money, after the fame, after what's beneficial in the short term and think about the long term, okay? So we don't make videos with AI when it comes to traveling, because I've seen them. They'll have like these drone image of like these cities you're looking for, and they've collected all these image and they're putting it back to back. Okay, great. But now what are you doing? You're taking away from, content creators that are actually traveling, that are walking the streets and doing all this manual labor. Now you're wiping them off, right? So don't use AI for traveling videos. Don't use AI just to make money, right? Bad, bad. We don't do that. Because now you're wiping your own people out. We don't use AI for writing books. AI can write a book in a second. So, and that's how some of these lizards are doing. Come on, this person has a full-time job and a family and turns around and writes a book in a month. Come on, man. Impossible. He's not Greg Braden. Greg Braden can write a book in a month. But why? Because he has so many books, right? So I'm telling you, don't use AI to write books. You use AI to write books, you're taking away from real authors, right? So creativity, don't use AI for creativity, because it cannot beat us. Trust me, AI cannot write a book better than I can. It cannot. Not at this level, you see? So we're at a level where we're okay for now. So let's not freak out. If it's time to freak out, freak out. Go on TV and be like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world." If that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do. But that's not where we're at. So again, we're in a safe space. Don't use AI for these things. Like I know editors that use AI for their editing. I understand it's making your life way better, But in my opinion, it's better to just automate, let's say, your editing of the spaces, and then you go put your own touch. Like imagine if AI edits every word as it ends. Like some sentence, you need to put a couple of, seconds of silence for the message to go through. If you just cut every time, it sounds like the editing is just a robot talking. So again, like I'm telling you, creativity, AI cannot understand creativity the way humans can. It's going to be really good at doing mundane work, repetitive, mundane, creativity. It's not going to come. Maybe if an entity comes and takes over, maybe that's where the creativity is going to kick in. But I'm telling you, AI doesn't have creativity, zero creativity. So what do? We use our creativity. We become very creative people. They can't stop creativity, right? We keep creating. We keep creating. And by creating, you're going to outshine the AI, because the AI can never catch up to your creativity. So you see, we outshine AI wherever we can. Role models, creativity, pure human. I'm telling you, it doesn't stand a chance. If you make a dog your boss, it's because you made the dog your boss. A dog cannot be like, "I'm your boss, listen to me or else I'll bite you." Trust me. You can get bitten a few times, but trust me, the dog at the end, he's gonna know who boss is, who's the boss. So it doesn't work like that. I'm telling you, an AI cannot be our boss. It's impossible. The only way it can is if we think it can, and then it's over, right? So again, we don't support it, right? I've had some job positions where people out of nowhere, and this is legit, it's not the lizards, it's really people reaching out to me and saying, "We'll pay you very good money for your knowledge." And they did that for one of my other brothers too, They go to expertise and they're like, "Oh, pump your information into AI, we'll pay you." And they pay you very well. But think about it. If everyone pumps their expertise into AI, then why would AI need you, right? If AI can be the best engineer, if AI can be the best musician, if AI can be, don't give your secrets away. Give your secrets away to other pure humans. But don't go and pump it into AI, because when you're pumping it into AI, only AI knows, right? You're not spreading your knowledge to everybody. You're spreading it to an entity that's gonna, one day turn against you. So don't pump your expertise into AI. It's better to break these things down so people understand. So don't pump it with energy. Don't do this, don't do that. Super easy. Don't encourage it, Just like a child, you give it only so much power. You don't give it too much power. So the future, right? That this is the present. It's all we can control. It's how much of the AI you let in. Now the future, we're going to have many levels of the AI. At first, it's going to be AI version 1.0. So what do? We play with the settings. We shut any settings that we, like record while we're gone, do this while we're gone. No. You shut all the settings of your AI, and you only put the ones you want. Like me, I just want them to vacuum. And then maybe one by one, I'll add onto the task. But first, let's see if it can vacuum. Okay? So that's where you play with the settings. Now, if they want, AI version 2.0 to take over your accounting system or your salary or whatever, that's where people are going to have to retaliate. The government cannot force us something that we don't want. Okay? This is the benefit in America. I'm not talking about other countries, but this is the benefit in America. The government cannot force something onto the people that they don't want. The people ask for it, and that's how the government gives it to us or forces it onto us. It's because the people are asking for it. So if you don't ask for it, rent an Uber where there's an actual person driving so you can support the person. Rent a taxi where the actual person's driving so you can support the taxi cab, but don't go and rent a driveless car. You're giving your power away. So I don't ever support driveless cars, and there's not too many out there. So again, we're in a safe space. Don't encourage, don't go getting that, don't go, writing that. Don't support it. And if you don't support it, it's going to fade out. It has no choice but to fade out. Like the Oculus, nobody cares about the Oculus, right? So if you don't support it, it's going to fade out. That's what we want. They can't be like, no, you have to. Here's a gun to your head. You have to ride this car. No, no. And this is why the shit's going to happen in America first. And I agree with Alex Ferrari's channelers. I have a feeling it's going to, split in three. It makes perfect sense because the administration of a country this big with this many people is impossible. So this is why we're not making it. It's too corrupt. And then there's groups within the groups, not necessarily just the government. There's other groups that hate the government that are doing horrible things. It's not like, this city got wiped out by fire. Oh, the president did that. Trust me, there's a lot of people out there that don't like the president and also or causing ruckus to also look as if he's doing it or he's the cause of it or it's because we voted for him and now this happened. So it's a very confusing illusion. I can see through it, but most people can't. So again, blaming the government isn't going to help because we're asking the government, we want this, we want that, and they're giving it to us. So again, when they give us AI, we use only the minimum settings. If they want to put a setting that we don't agree with, that's where we have to fight. That's where we have to throw these things in the garbage, burn them, whatever. That's where we're going to have to fight and be like, no, we don't want these things in our house. That's where the scariness has to come. Not now. If you scare people from now, you're just lowering everyone's vibration. You're not warning them, right? So we got to do like David Icke. Go and just give a little bit of information and then people go and question this for themselves. That's the best way. So again, right? If we trash these things, they can't force us. You have to have a robot in the house. No, we don't. No, we don't, because a lot of people can't even afford it. So, again, whatever they give us, we communicate and then we say no. We're gonna have to fight. So this is what's gonna happen with the 2030. They're cleaning up these cities that they burnt down, the elites. And what's gonna happen? They're gonna put these smart cities there. So don't move into these smart cities. Like I'm not gonna move, Don't move into these smart cities. Like some people are gonna be like, oh, I can't afford $1 million house. Let me go into these cities. It's gonna happen. These cities will be filled with people. But in my opinion, they're gonna be clear characters or whatever, So this is why we have to control it. Don't move into these cities. Don't encourage driveless cars. Don't encourage AI that can do everything for you. Where you disappear, AI can take over. Common sense. And again, there's going to be many versions of this until we have an AI that can 100% take over, So there's a lot of stopping this and moving it to a different direction. And trust me when I tell you, the game of life isn't going to end because AI is going to take over and everyone's going to go south. Trust me, the history of humanity isn't going to end like that. You'll never see a movie where everything's incredible and the end is like as a disaster. And even those movies that do that, they're horrible people. They're horrible people because that's not realistic. Trust me when I tell you, everything works out at the end if you follow your intuition, your heart, and the unity of the pure humans, right? They can't, it's like forks. They can't reach us unless you let them reach you. So we covered the past, we covered the present. We don't encourage what we don't want to encourage. And then the future, we get ready. We get ready. 2030 is coming. We'll know what to say and do when that happens. And trust me, if we're starving these smart cities, they can't do anything. If nobody lives in there, they can't do anything. The government can't come and say, hey, the elites want you to live in here, and therefore I must, as a president, force you to go live in there. No, that's not going to happen. And don't forget, the people that control the money are not the same as the president. All the presidents that got assassinated, it's because they wanted to disconnect from the Federal Reserve. Let's not forget that, okay? So the people controlling the money system, okay, are not the same as the government. Although it can look like they're the same and they're partnering up, and it can look like that. But trust me when I tell you, the Federal Reserve is not owned by governments at all. It's owned by families, not governments. It has nothing, they're the ones putting the governments there. So trust me when I tell you, if the families want you to go digital, they'll just black out all their banks and you have no choice but to go digital. And that's what, in my opinion, they're going to do by 2030. Because they have to pull the plug. For everyone to run into these cities and going digital and this, they have to pull the plug, right? So when they pull the plug, we stay sit. Like, put a lot of cash in your house like that. And you're like, screw this. I don't have to go digital, whatever. And if the groceries force you to go digital, then we, whatever that happens at that time, then we fight at that time. We're like, well, listen, I'm not going to pay you digital. So let's have these grocery stores. Don't forget, grocery stores, it's perishing. The grocery store business and the restaurant business, why are they the most difficult business? Because the food perishes. I know we owned a restaurant at some point, one of my brothers. Super difficult. First, you have to 24 hours be there because people steal the food and eat and whatever, right? You have to watch everybody. So you always have to be there. And your food, it perishes. Your inventory perishes. Like if I have a manufacturer and I'm not selling my iPhones, that's okay. Next month I can sell them. I can even sell them next year, worst case. It's an old version I'm selling. But food, it's finished. The food perishes. If a restaurant opens their door and nobody walks in, they have to throw away all the food, right? So think about it. Restaurants want digital now. All right, well, I'm not going to eat there. Tough luck. Groceries want digital now. Your apples, 5 days. I give you 5 days and they're going to be rotten. Let them rot. Let them rot. And this is what people are scared of because this is what's happening. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait for grocery to be like, you know what? It's digital or nothing. I'm just waiting for that moment. Watch me open a new path. So, I'm excited. But that's what I'm waiting for. I'm just waiting for them to do this to me. And it's going to be hard because trust me, where I live, half of the groceries are Mexicans. They don't even speak English. So it's not coming here. Maybe it'll hit the Whole Foods first and the Amazon. Be careful with Amazon, huh? Anything you buy off of Amazon, it says warning, Prop 65, cancer. On anything. I notice if you buy paper, you buy hair product, you buy food, you buy this, everything has Prop 65. And I looked into it. Why is everything causing cancer that leaves the facility of Amazon? I think it's because they're pumping radiation. Because how can this and that cause me cancer when I go to a regular store and they don't have that warning? So when you look into the internet, it says they have to put that warning because the products have encountered some chemicals that may cause, but they went super abstract. They went like it might have touched during shipment. We don't know. It might have touched in the air when it was infected. We don't know, right? So because of this story, they're putting this can cause cancer on everything. But that's not the reason. That's because at the warehouse, they're pumping radiation onto all this shit. I'm telling you, because the groceries don't have this warning 65. So if I'm buying an apple from Amazon and has warning 65, and I'm buying from a grocery that doesn't have warning 65, but I know this is GMO. I know this is an apple, mutant apple that's not natural. And this one doesn't even have the label. So be very careful, be very careful what you're supporting and what you're not. Like go to local markets. Like, we've been saying this since 2020 and people are going off grid now. Like I'm personally never going to go off grid. I'm too attached to society. I like society. Even the Tartarian times we had cities, like I'm never going to cut from society and go live tribal. I'm not. I respect people that do that, and I completely understand people with family that do that. Like, hey, if I had 4 kids, I would want to also, feed them my food, like my garden and this and that. I understand. But me by myself, I have no reason to go live tribal. I don't, and I don't want to. It's not for me. Like I said, I'm a downtown person, and I'm gonna save downtown LA. So, anyways, so right, what you encourage, what you don't encourage. There's a lot of people here local. You can buy a lot of cheap stuff here local. Same thing with downtowns. Every downtown has a manufacturer section where you can go buy wholesale. So go out of your way. Maybe it's inconvenient. Amazon brings it to your door. I get it. But just go out of your way to change and encourage what needs to be encouraged. Don't buy from where it says this causes cancer, even when you buy socks and you're like, what? Why is this sock causing me cancer? Like, what's going on? And I figured it out. It's good. They're pumping the radioactivity within the warehouses, but they don't want to tell you that. They don't want to tell you that. So they're like, hey, in case you put this sock on and you have feet cancer, well, don't come after us. That's pretty much what it is. So again, that's how we're going to manipulate the future. That's how we're going to affect it. First, warn the people of what's coming. Don't encourage them to go to these smart cities. Don't encourage them to go to one universal income. But like I said, people are going to run towards it because a lot of people are living in hell. So when that comes, it's going to be a wonderful solution. So again, we can't stop it, right? We can't stop it. However, what we can say is keep your smart cities. Keep them for the people that want it. But we want our cities like this. And they're going to have no choice but to give it to us. Because like I said, they can't force everyone to go move into the smart cities. They can't. So the ones that are voluntarily going to go, there's no saving them. Like I'm not going to be able to save them. Not many people are going to be able to save them because they're non-player characters. They're going to follow the system and they're going to say, put this Neuralink into my brain and control me because I'm tired. I see people like that. And they would love it. They would love it. They'd be like, finally, something's controlling me. They're dying for this stuff. So no problem. Let them go live in these smart cities. But we say no. The pure humans say no. The pure humans say we want pure cities with pure food and pure this and pure that. And they're going to have to give it to both because, after a fight, someone has to win, right? We can't fight and evolution doesn't win. No, we're going to fight and we're going to get what we want. They're going to get what they want and we're going to get what we want. That's how it's going to work. It's not going to be like we're going to shut the smart cities and we're going to go all off grid. That's never going to happen. Listen, when you come into a company that wants a brand new computer system, right? They hired me and they're like, Sarah, you're a system analyst, come up with an ERD. This is how the information comes in. This is how the information gets processed. And this is how the information goes out. Now build me a brand new system, right? And I go and I build a brand new system. Now you think the system, I'm just going to go to the company and overnight unplug the old system and put on the new system? Of course, it's not going to work because the old clients, the old records, they're all stuck in the old system. Now the new system has no information, right? So people don't build a system like that. They build parallel systems, right? So you have the old crappy system that's being populated with info every day because the company keeps working, right? The calls keep coming in, the companies keep working. So the information keeps getting filled in this database while I'm building a brand new database. So these things are built at the same time. Every new system is built at the same time. It's not suddenly I build this and I'm, taking away this power and I'm replacing. It's never, ever like that. If you do that, it'll crash because sometimes there's bugs, what are you going to do? Oh, now there's a bug we didn't see and now the whole company has to stop. No. These things have these testing grounds. You put them up as the old system is going down. So this system goes up, this one gets down. And then that's how the eventual system takes over. This is computer system, right? So the same thing with today's world. They're building the smart cities as we have our crappy cities, right? And as they're building our smart cities versus the crappy cities, then people are going to transition and that's how it's going to take over. So as long as we don't go into these cities, the pure humans stay pure, and we don't need 300 million pure humans. 10%. 10% is all we need. If 10% of the population can be pure and represent pure, it'll catch like a wildfire. Everyone's going to be like, I don't want to be Homer Simpson with the chip in my brain and Terminator. I want to be like Greg Braden. I want to be like Tony Robbins. I want to be like David Icke. They're going to actually look up to real people. And trust me, you can't look up to an AI. It's ridiculous. You feel ridiculous yourself. It's like when I look up to a boss that knows less than me. It makes me feel like, why is this even happening? Why is my boss less intelligent than me? This is horrible. Because hierarchy, I have to listen to him. He tells me to burn the place down, I gotta burn the place. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So us listening to AI is ridiculous. And trust me, that moment's gonna come and we're gonna feel like fools. The pure humans are gonna feel like fools. And we're not gonna take it. So again, zoom out, yeah, it's a disaster, but if you zoom in, we still have some time. 2030 is a long way to go. I'm practicing with my videos like that. By 2030, I'm always in it. I'm gonna be like, hey, today this is what we're gonna do. and that's how we're gonna cross the river, all of us together. Because we need perspectives from different countries. This is our advantage. We're like one entity, but our hands are all over the place. Versus the devil has a lot of hands, but they're all against him. So, it doesn't work. There's a lot of conflict within the devil world, Versus the pure humans, there's no conflict. It's instant telepathy. There's no miscommunication with a pure human, So again, they stand no chance. It's like we're fighting with like worms. And we're like, oh my God, yeah, it's gross. I don't want to touch a worm. It's gross. I don't want to touch that. I don't want that in my life, right? But at the end of the day, it's still a worm. Like, we can't be like worms are going to take over the world. Worms are not going to take over the world. Trust me. Even if they've taken over Instagram or whatever, and this is why we're catching them. They can't go far. They can just do so much, So again, we have free will. If we go into these smart cities ourselves, then we've done it to ourselves. You can't blame other people. Well, he created the city. He's the devil. No, he created the city. You walked into it. He's not the devil. You're as much as a victim that he's a devil. Like it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, it's like Pamela Anderson said, this Me Too movement, hey, listen, coming from a girl from a very dominated male environment, trust me when I tell you, and Pamela Anderson's right. When someone says, come meet me at a hotel, hotel room, not even the conference room, meet me in my hotel room for a talk about your script and maybe if you get the job or not, and the guy's in a robe. Come on, Like, it's not that I don't feel sorry for these girls, but, these girls knew exactly what they were doing. It's like that Hunger Games girl. She blew up, and she did that with Epstein, not Epstein, the other guy that looks like a monster. But these guys look like monsters. But the other director that's super famous, she's seen with pictures, grabbing his arm and this and that, and then she blows up, and she's like, I got this deal legit. Through my skills. Me Too movement. It wasn't fair. Come on. It wasn't fair. Why did you go into the hotel room and did what you did? This is why it's ridiculous. They come, I'm the victim. No, you're not the victim. You knew exactly what was happening. Who meets up in a robe in a hotel room? I've seen it. I've seen offers like that. It's disgusting. And what do? They don't do anything. They're just giving you an invitation. You're the one blowing it out of proportion. You're the one going and causing trouble because that's what it looks like. They're not doing anything. They're just opening the door. Don't walk into it. So Pamela Anderson's right. It's like these two Me Too movement. I'm not saying you're a young girl, you go into Hollywood, they trick you, and that's different. But a lot of these women, they've been in the industry for many, many years and they haven't made it. And then they're like, whatever, let me just do this and I'll make it. Right? So you can't be like, they did this to me. Trust me when I tell you, in America, no one does anything to you. Nobody says you have to go get this jab. Nobody. Okay, you lose your job, whatever. I'll lose my job, I'll go get another job. Nobody forces you to do anything in America. That is one thing I got to give to these people, like, although it's a horrible things happening, horrible, right? But these things are also happening in the Middle East, you don't think there's imams going after little boys? Come on. It's filled with them, filled with these imams who think they're walking Muslim gods and they go after little kids. It's everywhere. It's not just in America, it's everywhere. So you don't free will. You use free will. You don't go and trap yourself and then be like, they did this to me. No, you went and you trapped yourself. There's no fighting after that, right? So we have to be aware. Oh, this is even a better iPhone. Okay, well, why is it even better? Look into it, like why is that one even better? Trust me, we're at a place in life where we don't need better iPhones, smaller iPhones. Like these are fluff. What we need is to actually focus on the problem. So this is all fluff, these versions coming out, it's all fluff. We've got to catch it. We got to catch it until there's a version where we're like, you know what? This version I accept. And they'll have no choice but to give it to us. So that's how we're going to control it. So again, it's not out of proportion. We just have to keep reminding people, don't pump energy into the AI. Just use it for mundane work. Don't put in your expertise. Don't use it for videos where you're, wiping out the actual humans, using creativity. So great role models we need to pump a lot of creativity, and we need to surpass AI where AI cannot be surpassed with humans. So what humans have advantage, we use that. And by using that, AI stands no chance because there'll be like 5-year-old kids next to us. But again, if we don't have good role models, we don't have direction, AI is going to look like a god. Okay? So it's all a question of perspective, and it's a question of we're going with the times. We're going with the times. And we always zoom into the problem. We look at the past, present, and future. And when you do that, it becomes crystal clear what we can forecast and what we should do. And at this time, we should do less when it comes to AI. We should not pump information. We shouldn't use ChatGPT for everything. We shouldn't write books, with ChatGPT. So I hope this video helped clarifying. So again, the best leaders in the world are the leaders that their presence make people feel comfortable. Just by them walking into the building, you're like, wow, okay, today's going to be a great day. Don't forget that. Because like I said, only one president did this to the people that he worked with out of the 20 years. Everyone else was playing a role. Like, I got to be a president, therefore I'm playing the president's role, right? But this one guy was truly a president. Like, he would walk in, everyone would feel safe. We're in good hands. So again, this is the feeling you want to project. So it can be like everyone's in good hands. By the way, AI is doing this. Did you see? Just check it out. Very nonchalant. Did you see what AI is picking up? Did you see what AI said today? This is how we're going to get the people to change. Like David Icke, in the middle of COVID, he's like, COVID doesn't exist. Again, brilliant. Brilliant. And you saw the tone. He wasn't freaking out. He wasn't like, they're going to attack me for this. I don't know what I'm saying. No, he knew exactly what he was saying and knew exactly what he was doing. And that was, in my opinion, the most impactful sentence I ever received. Way more than my mercy for animals sign, way more than forcing information down people's throats, way more than anything. Calm and collective and be like, don't worry. But by the way, did you see this? We should look into this. And again, keep communicating, and we're gonna get out of this. So be yourself. Go out there and be incredible role models, please. Much needed. Thank you very much, and on to the next one. Ciao.